Brilliance Audio presents The Cold Way Home by Julia Keller, performed by Shannon Mcmanus. For Karen and Paul and Miko. Grief is an amputation, but hope is incurable hemophilia. You bleed and bleed and bleed. David Mitchell, Slade House. Dire sight it is to see some silken beast long dally with a golden lizard ere she devour. More terrible, to see how feline fate will sometimes dally with a human soul, and by a nameless magic make it repulse a sane despair, with a hope which is but mad. Humanity, thou strong thing, I worship thee, not in the laureled victor, but in this vanquished one. Herman Melville, The Encantadas, or Enchanted Isles. Prelude. It was 7:17 p.m. on Thursday, October 24th, and Deputy Steve Brinksnutter was ready to call it a day. More than ready, actually. He had a full shift under his belt, and supper waiting on the table at home. He was supposed to be done. He should have been finished more than 2 hours ago, if you wanted to get technical about it, but there had been too many reports to write, and an obese, unruly prisoner, probably high on something, given that he was twisting and lunging and machine-gunning obscenities, that he had to subdue, in order for his colleague, Deputy Dave Previtt, to squire the man into a cell. He didn't know what the man had done. The man was Dave's prisoner, not his, and there'd been no time to talk about it, because the man had broken free from Dave and he had to render assistance. And now, this. The call had come crackling over his radio a minute and a half ago, and Steve knew he had to respond, knew he had to attend to it. Duty was duty. When he got the chance later, he'd phone his wife, Holly, and explain why he'd be late, again, and hear her sigh, hear her murmur about how food reheated in a microwave never tastes the same as it does in the first full flush of its tangy, flavor-mingling warmth from the oven, which was undoubtedly true, and which she knew that he knew, but she'd say it anyway. Damn. Tonight was pot roast night. Pot roast was his favorite. It tended to give him indigestion. Hell, what didn't these days? But he'd put up with that. Holly sometimes joked about serving Tums as a side dish. Fine, he'd reply, you do that, as long as you don't stop making that pot roast, which caused her to smile. Might be hours now before he'd be seeing.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?